All right, here's the chapter 1 review. Numbers 1, 2, and 3, what's it asking you to do is find the slope of the line. So you don't need to go through and write the entire equation. Just do what the question is asking, find the slope. How do you find the slope given 2 points? Use the formula, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if you need to, I know this always helped me out, is actually draw an arrow from the 5 to the 9. Those are the two numbers you're subtracting in the numerator. And then the negative 1 minus the 4 is going to be in the denominator. So we get 5 minus 9 is negative 4. We get negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. Always make sure a double negative cancels out and you're left with 4/5. Number 3, do the same thing. Start off with the formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And follow this pattern. Use negative 1 minus negative 1 in the numerator. Use negative 3 minus negative 4 in the denominator. What's negative 1 minus a negative 1? Well, minus a negative is plus a positive, so you get 0 in the numerator. Negative 3 minus a negative 4? Well, minus a negative is plus a positive, you get positive 1. What's the slope? 0. In number 5, a line passes through the points negative 2, 2, and 2, 10. The first thing you do is find the slope. How do you do that? M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Take 10 minus the 2. Draw that pattern in so that you get used to what two numbers you need to subtract. Over 2 minus what? Negative 2. 10 minus 2, 8. 2 minus negative 2, 4. The slope of this line is 2. Find the y-intercept. How do you do that? Start with y equals mx plus b. Take either point, I don't care which one. I always take the first simply because it's first. I put the 2 in for the y, equals 2 in for the m, negative 2 in for the x, plus b. 2 is equal to negative 4 plus b, b is equal to 6, y is equal to 2x plus 6. Number 7. The slope is 3/4. Tell me you know what's going on. Write down m is equal to 3/4. How are you going to find the y-intercept? Start with y equals mx plus b. Plug in the 5 equals the 3/4 times negative 4 plus b. 5 is equal to 3/4 times negative 4, negative 3 plus b. b is equal to 8 by adding 3 to both sides. Y is equal to 3/4 x plus 8. In number 9, it's the difference between thinking you know and knowing you know. Prove to me you know what's going on and write down m is equal to 5. This is a 5-point question. You just earned 2 points. The y-intercept is 2. Tell me that the y-intercept b is equal to 2. You just earned 2 more points just by writing those two things down that you should already know. Y is equal to 5x plus 2 is your final answer. Number 11, we're writing in slope-intercept form, which means we need to get the y by itself. Add 2x to both sides. 3y is equal to 2x plus 12. Divide everything by 3. And you get y is equal to 2/3 x plus 4. That's your equation in slope-intercept form. Number 13, what do we know about the slopes of parallel lines? They are the same. So what's the old slope? 5. What's the new slope? 5. How do you find the y-intercept? Just like we always do. Start with y equals mx plus b. Plug in the negative 6 for the y. Plug in the 5 for the m. 4 plus b. Negative 6 is equal to 20 plus b. b is equal to negative 26. Y equals 5x minus 26. Start number 15 by labeling points. Here's A, B, C, D, E, and F, and tell me what's going on from point to point. Since he's driving his car along the highway, um, and we are comparing speed, not distance. This is speed versus time. So, from A to B, increases speed. From B to C, he's not stopped here. He's traveling at the same speed. From C to D, what's he doing is he slowed down a bit. Some heavy traffic. From D to E, got out of that heavy traffic and sped up. And then E to F, pulled over by a cop. Number 16, we've had examples like that in your notes, so check that out for number 16. Number 17. Here's your y-intercept. To the y-axis, you go to positive 1. You rise 1, run 2, and we come up with this set of points that we're going to draw a dotted line. It says less than, this is the less than sign, right? Which means we're going to shade below the line. So we take everything below the line and shade that in. And that's what your inequality should have looked like for number 17. Number 19. Number 19, we need to solve for y first, so we subtract 2x from both sides. We get the opposite of y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. Divide by that coefficient of negative 1. And we get y is equal to 2x minus 3. Starting at negative 3 on the y-axis. We rise 2, run 1, down 2, left 1 if you need to, and we draw your line. Draw a solid line. Make sure you do use a straight edge and take your line all the way across the graph. Next, we have problem number 21. For which inequality is graphed here? Well, let's point out, class, that it's shaded below, which means it's going to be a less than. So we know it's not going to be a greater than. We can cross that one out. Now, what's the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is here, which means it's at negative 2. That's either this one or this one, so we can cross that one out. And this is what you want to do on a multiple choice question. Either here on an ECA, PSAT, SAT, whatever kind of multiple choice question you're asking, class, try to eliminate any possible solutions you can. What's the slope for this? Well, we're going to rise 2, run 1, so we get a positive 2. So the answer is D. 23, find the slope of the line graphed. Since it's going uphill, we know the slope has to be positive. Eliminate those two choices right there. Pick any 2 points. I see a point right here and right here that says rise 3 and run 4. The answer is C. 25. Again, we're writing this in slope-intercept form, which means we need to solve this for y. And before you can do any kind of solving, class, make sure you get rid of any parentheses first. You have y minus 1 is equal to negative 1/3 times the quantity x minus 6. We'll get rid of these parentheses first by using the distributive property, and you'll have y minus 1 is equal to negative 1/3 x, and then what? It's negative 1/3 times negative 6, positive 2. At this point, you want to add 1 to both sides. So we end up with the equation y is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 3, which is, looks like C. Again, when we ask ourselves which equation is being graphed here, we need to know that the slope is going downhill. Therefore, the slope is going to be negative, and that takes care of A and C. We can toss those out. Well, what's the y-intercept? The y-intercept is positive 3, so it looks like the answer is B here. In number 29, which ordered pair is not a part of the solution? Well, what I need to do here, class, is put the x in for the x, put the y in for the y, and see which one of these we get greater than or equal, greater than 6. So I'm going to take 3 times 2 plus 2 times negative 1, and I want to know, is that greater than 6? Well, that's 6 minus 2 is greater than 6. That's out. 3 times 2 plus 2 times 0, is that greater than 6? Well, 6 is equal to 6, so that one's out. 3 times 0 plus 2 times negative 4. Is negative 8 greater than 6? No, so it's probably going to be D. Let's go ahead and test this just to make sure that we didn't make a mistake somewhere along the way. 3 times 3 plus 2 times 1 is greater than 6. 9 plus 2 is 11, is greater than 6. That checks out. The answer is D. Yeah, just brought to my attention that the question said which one is not. We're going to take that word out because this is the D is the one that does work. So we're good with the answer D there. In number 31, make sure your ordered pairs are in parentheses. So B would be at 1, negative 2. It is in quadrant 4. Make sure you're using Roman numerals. I'll come back and do the others later. I'm going to do T right now. T is at 0, negative 4. You would write none for the quadrant here. A is at the point 3, 3, and it's in quadrant 1. 33, find the solution set. Tell you what, we've already done one like that before. I'm going to go back and do number 32 for you instead. The domain is 3, takes care of that one. Negative 3 takes care of that one. 4 takes care of that x. 3 I've already written down. Do not use it again. And then negative 4, that would be your domain. The range then is the set of y's. What numbers are we using for y? I have a 9, 2, 4, 5, and 3. So we have our range there. The inverse, class, is just writing the ordered pairs down in opposite form. In other words, flip the x and the y. So the first one would be 9, 3. The second one would be 2, negative 3. The third one would be 4, 4. Then we have 5, 3. And then we have 3, negative 4. You're just flipping the x and the y around. And is this a function? No, because of the 3 being repeated, it is not. Number 3, find the solution given, sorry, we're going to come back to that one later. 34 would just be making an XY table. I'll come back to that one later. 35, f of 3, and then plus 3. Whatever's in the parentheses, put it in for the x, do the math. Negative 2 times 3 plus 4, but then we need to add 3 at the end. So we have negative 6 plus 4 plus 3. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2 plus 3 is 1. Whatever's in the parentheses, put it in for the x. So I'm going to have negative 2 times the quantity h plus 1, and then plus 4. I get negative 2h minus 2 plus 4. Combining like terms, negative 2h plus 2. I will do A and C here. I'll explain that. When you're looking at the graph, if you were to take a vertical line, that's not too vertical, let's try that again. Take a vertical line and run it through the graph. If it touches more than one spot, it is not a function. Well, it touches 3 spots here. So no, not a function. In number 3, we're only going to be looking at the x's. We have a 3, a 2, a 5, and a negative 3. Are any numbers in those x's being repeated? No, then we'll say yes, it is a function. And now I'll go back and we'll try the other problems. All right, so now that we've had a chance to go through these problems, let's go back to the beginning and try the problems that we didn't get a chance to do yet. Let's go back and do the others then. So in number 2, again, you're finding the slope. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're going to have negative 2 minus 6, and then 4 minus negative 4. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. 4 minus negative 4 is positive 8. So our slope for this line would be negative 1. Number 4. The line that we're talking about, the slope is equal to 2. The y-intercept is negative 5. Make sure you write those things down. I want to know that you know that the slope is 2. I want to know that you know the slope is negative 5. And there you can write the equation y is equal to 2x minus 5. This is a 5-point question on the test where telling me what the slope is worth 2 points. Telling me what the y-intercept is worth 2 points. Writing the equation is only 1 point, so make sure you tell me what those other 2 parts are. In number 6, a line that passes through points 1, negative 1, and 0, negative 3. Well, to find the slope, you need y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And do this. Write down the negative 3 minus the negative 1. Draw these arrows in, 0 minus 1. Minus a negative is plus a positive. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. The slope of this line is 2. How do you find the y-intercept? Y is equal to mx plus b is what we would usually use, right? And you could still do that if you want. But right here, 0, negative 3 tells you that b is equal to negative 3. So you have the equation y is equal to 2x minus 3. Next page. We have number 8. A line with the x-intercept is negative 2 and the y-intercept is 6. Well, again, here is very similar to the last problem that we did. The y-intercept is 6. You can write that down. But how are we going to find the slope? It's not negative 2. But what you can do is write down the point negative 2, 0. Write down the point 0, 6. And this is what we're going to use to find the slope. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We get 6 minus 0 over 0 minus negative 2. 6 minus 0 is 6. 0 minus negative 2 is 2. The slope is 3. The y-intercept is 6. Y is equal to 3x plus 6. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 7 minus negative 2. 2 minus 2. 9 over 0. When 0 is in the denominator, we get undefined. The slope is undefined. So what kind of line is this? It's vertical. What's the equation of any vertical line look like? It looks like this. X equals And what has x always been equal to? 2. That's the equation of this line. In number 12, we can't do anything if there are parentheses in a problem. What we're doing here is trying to get the y by itself because we're writing this in slope-intercept form. We have negative 2x minus 8 on the right side. Subtract 6 from both sides, and you get y is equal to negative 2x minus 14. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. Perpendicular. What do we know about those slopes of perpendicular lines? Well, you have to flip the fraction, change the sign. What's the old slope? The old slope is negative 3/2. What's the new slope? It's 2/3. It goes through the point negative 2, negative 2. Y equals mx plus b. Negative 2 here is equal to 2/3 times x, negative 2, plus b. Negative 2 is equal to negative 4/3 plus b. Adding 4/3 to both sides, we get b is equal to negative 2/3. So you have y is equal to two-thirds x minus 2/3. Number 16. The Cosby family's on vacation. Father Bill drives 560 miles in 8 hours. Write an equation that describes the distance with respect to time. To write an equation, we need speed. Remember, speed gives you the slope, right? So 560 divided by 8, 70 miles per hour. So d is equal to 70t. So we're going to put time in terms of hours across the x-axis. We're going to put distance in terms of miles on the y-axis. And 0 miles, or 0 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 12 hours. And then what's our distance going to be? Well, we can climb by 100. Every other mark, let's make that 100. Now, this doesn't have to be the exact way to do this. You can set these up however you want, as long as your intervals are consistent. So at 0 hours, I drive 0 miles. After 1 hour, it's 70. So that would be about here. 2 would be 140. That would be about here. 3 would be 210, about here. And I can draw my line using those points. That's about how it would look, and then so that's graphing the equation. How long would it take to go 1,050 miles? Well, we don't have 1,050 graphed on our graph, so we're going to have to figure this out arithmetically. So we have d is equal to 70t. We put 1,050 in for the distance, divide by 70, and we get t is equal to 15. Page 4, we're graphing these equations. Negative 2 is the is on the y-axis. That's our y-intercept. The slope is 1 over 1. So I'm going to rise 1, run 1. Draw my line. Number 20, we have 6x minus 2y is equal to negative 12. Subtract the 6x from both sides. Negative 2y is equal to negative 6x minus 12. Divide through by negative 2. And we get a new equation. Y is equal to 3x plus 6. Start at positive 6 on the y-axis. I want to rise 3 and run 1, but that takes me off my graph up here. So I'm going to go down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1, and follow that pattern all the way down the page. And you can draw your line. Page 5. Write a linear equation to model the following situation. A tanning club membership costs $25 for an initiation plus $15 per month. Well, as we know, the word per gives us the slope, so we're looking at $15. So 15x plus 25 would be B. Write an equation that passes through the line 6, 5 and negative 2, 3. Well, we're going to have 3 minus 5 in the numerator, negative 2 minus 6 in the denominator. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. So our slope is 1/4. So I can take out A and B. In fact, I can even take out C because that's negative 1/4. Our answer is D. Page 6. Write an inequality to represent the following situation. Tickets for a play cost $4 per child and $5 per adult. For the company to make money, the profit needs to be at least. At least means greater than or equal to, so something's going to be greater than or equal to $2,400. So that takes out A automatically. Now, it's $4 per child and $5 per adult. That per means we're going to be multiplying. Remember how per means the slope? And we would take per time, that per is that number times the x. So we're going to be taking 4 times x and then 5 times something else. Let's call it 5 times y. And we get D, 4x plus 5y is greater than or equal to 2,400. Number 28, find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. We have negative 3 minus 0. Oh, excuse me, negative 3 minus 3 over 2 minus 2. Negative 6 over 0 means it's undefined, C. 0 in the numerator would be 0a, but this is 0 in the denominator, and that's undefined. Number 30, write a linear equation to model the following situation. We have somebody who weighs 416 pounds and wants to lose 5 pounds per week. Well, that means that we're going to have negative 5x. Now, does she weigh a negative 416 pounds? I don't think so. We have a positive 416 pounds here and here. We also have it here, but we're not going to take 416 times x. That one's going to be out. This one's going to be out. So is it B or C? Well, we're going to lose 5 pounds, so 5 pounds per week. So the answer would be C. Page 7, continuing on with the points. The point O is at negative 4, 0. The quadrant is none. H is at negative 2, 4. And it is in quadrant 2. Don't forget to use Roman numerals. Find the solution set of 4x minus 2y is equal to 8 given the replacement set of 2, 2, 2.5, 1, and 1, negative 2. In other words, class, we have 3 different problems here. We need to find which of these points satisfies this equation. It could be none of them, it could be all of them. So let's find out. We're going to take 4 times 2 minus 2 times 2. Does that equal 8? Well, 8 minus 4 does not equal 8, so the first point is out. We're going to take 4 times 2.5 minus 2 times 1. Is that equal to 8? 4 times 2.5. 4 times 2.5 is 10. Minus 2 is equal to 8. That checks out. How about the last point? 4 times 1 minus 2 times negative 2. Is that equal to 8? We have 4 plus 8. Now this minus a negative makes it a plus. 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. That checks out. So our answer, class, would be 2.51 and 1, negative 2. Make sure you show me your answer like this. In number 34, 8x plus 4y is equal to 24. We want to make a table where we have negative 1, 0, 2, and 4 for the x, for the domain. So I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides here. And I get 4y is equal to negative 8x plus 24. Divide everything by 4. Y is equal to negative 2x plus 6. So I'm going to take negative 1 and put it in here for x. So negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2 plus 6 is 8. 0 is always an easy number when you put it in for x. That disappears, you get 6. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4 plus 6 is 2. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. And last but not, well, the last page anyway, g of negative 2. Whatever is in the parentheses goes in for the x here and here. So I'm going to have 2 times negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2 and then plus 2. Now here, do you do the exponents first or do you multiply first? It's always exponents first, so we're going to have 2 times 4 plus 8 plus 2. 8 plus 8 plus 2 is 18. B is not a function because these 2 points right here line up in the same vertical line. No, so the reason why is because it doesn't pass the vertical line test. And now to our last question, and that is this a function? And the answer is no, because we need y to the first power, and this shows y to the second power. So class, this practice test will be graded on completion. All you need to do is work through the problems that we did and turn it in on next class period. Thanks for listening.